Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. My name is Sami Kabir. I am the Northeast Area Manager here for Guidance Residential. Today, I wanted to talk about why banks are not Sharia compliant and how important it is for the Muslims to understand the difference when we are dealing with the banks. If we look around the world today, we see rising debts, inequality, poverty, and unemployment. The richest 10% of the population hold 86 of the world's wealth, and the top 1% alone account for 46% of the global assets, according to the Credit Suisse in 2013 report. And UNICEF says 30,000 children under the age of 5 die every day due to debt. These children die quietly in the poorest village on each, for removed from the security and the conscious of the world. Let's talk about the poverty in the world real quick. Nearly half of the world's population, more than 3 billion people, live on less than $2.50 a day. More than 1.3 billion live in extreme poverty, less than 1.25 cents a day. 805 million people worldwide do not have enough food to eat. More than 750 million people lack adequate access to clean drinking water. 1 billion children worldwide are living in poverty. 65 million children under the age of 5 were stunned due to chronic malfunction. Now, what about USA? 43.1 million people, that's 13.5% of the US population, live in poverty. And you may ask, what is the root cause? The root cause is the modern economic system that involves the monetary system, the fractional reserve banking system, and value-neutral economic philosophies, debt-based economy, and interest-based financial system. And the process goes with the concentration of the wealth through lobbying by the rich, speculation, deregulation, and exploitation. And the results is inequality, debt, poverty, unemployment, which causes the socio-economic imbalance, lack of social cohesion, and economic and political instability. And you may ask that, what is the root cause and what is it that I'm talking about? Most of the money in our economy is created by the banks in the form of bank deposits, the numbers that appear in your account. Banks create new money whenever they make loans. 97% of the money in the economy today is created by banks, while just 3% is created by the government. And that's according to the positive money. The transfer of wealth goes from 90% of the population to the 10% who holds the power through interest. And the process is complex and a lot of people don't understand. In short, Congress will deregulate the Wall Street and the bank, allowing them to come up with a scheme of different types of loans through interest. And in this case, I can give an example of the regular consumers purchasing a home through interest. Our founding fathers also talked about what Islam has to say on riba. And I will quote from Surah Baqarah. Allah said, those who take unlawful interest will stand before God on the day of judgment as those whose minds have been corrupted by the influence of shaitan. And they say, commerce is just like interest, but God has made commerce lawful and has forbidden interest. Now, the foundational principle of Islamic finance is rooted in divine law, where there is an economic justice, circulation of wealth, commoditization, and risk sharing, which we don't see in the lending. In the lending institutions, it's a win-lose framework. It creates debt. It creates risk that is transferred to only one person in a transaction. There are unfair gains from profits and losses, and rich get richer while poor gets poorer. But in the process of Islamic investing, there's a win-win framework according to Islamic finance process, and it invests in real assets. Risk is shared, and it's just and fair profit, and loss is also shared. Justice and equity and economy and prosperous that we are able to facilitates economic growth and reduces unemployment. And also Islamic finance reduces debt in a society and promotes financial stability. So why am I talking about this as behalf of Guidance Residential? And who is Guidance Residential? As many of you already know, that our organization and our declining balance co-ownership program are both truly unique. Conveying this message to our community can sometimes take a long discussion because of the extraordinary effort that went into the creation of the company and the program. Unlike other so-called Islamic home financing companies, Guidance Residential is not a subsidiary of a riba-based bank. Our parent company, Guidance Financial Group, is a global Islamic financial institution, and our success in working to eradicate riba from the lives of our community here in the USA does not lead to the enrichment of riba-based banks. The reality here in USA is that banks are value neutral, and from an Islamic view, this is problematic because they only care about the perpetuation of riba and the banking and the backing of illicit activities that are prohibited by Islam. You may come across someone who would attempt to defend banks by stating that Islamic banks do exist worldwide and they are Sharia compliant. That's true. For example, an Islamic bank exists in those Arab nations where their laws allow them to trade. They are allowed to buy goods or properties for the purpose of selling them to the consumers. But this is not the case here in USA because federal government prohibits any bank to trade or buy properties for the purpose of selling to the consumers. So they are only allowed to lend for interest. So therefore, it's impossible for any bank or a company that is owned by a bank to buy a property and have a legit Islamic financial contract with the consumers. So this is in fit with that thought that I had an interaction years ago with a member of our independent Sharia board, and the Sheikh stated that banks are inherently problematic for Muslims because they not only lend money at interest, but they also lend money and support those companies that participate in activities which is prohibited by Islam, such as sale of pork, alcohol, firearms, gambling, and etc. Their hunger for riba-based profit has no bounds. Now, anyone you may know who offers Islamic home financing, all are subsidiaries of riba-based banks. By supporting their efforts, communities like ours are very much supporting the parent company, which is the bank. The reason being is that we believe that the goal of Islamic financial institution is to demonstrate that commerce and investment can thrive without the criminal act of riba. Islamic financial institutions should not affiliate themselves with or provide financial support to any riba-based mission. When pure Islamic options exist, a Muslim's partnership with the subsidiaries of riba-based bank only serves to connect that Muslim to the enrichment of that institution and the desire for more riba. I will end with this. The reality is we have a moral obligation to inform our community the facts about banks. Our community members and leaders ought to know. Guidance Residential has gone to a great lengths and spent a significant amount of money to avoid the bank option. During the time we were structuring the company and its co-ownership programs, this was by design, so as to avoid the problematic nature of banking rules and their clear allegiance to riba. Thank you so much for listening to me. I look forward to seeing you in the future. Assalamu alaikum.